Archetypes are living forces that breathe within us. They are not frozen in the past. They appear in our lives every single day. And if we look deeper, we will discover ancient images within each of us, connected to birth, strength, mystery, and protection. Jung spoke of the archetypes of the mother, the maiden, the Amazon, and the priestess. 4 faces of the feminine principle, 4 keys to understanding the inner world. Which of these voices speaks most strongly through you? Jung wrote, "The image of the mother is the archetype of the greatest power. She is the beginning and the source of life, yet she can also become an all-devouring abyss. The Great Mother is not only our real mother, she is the very force of life itself, nourishing, caring, generous. She gives us the feeling of home and belonging. The force of life is the primal source from which all living beings are born. It manifests as nourishing energy. The mother feeds, the earth gives harvest, the body provides strength. The Great Mother symbolizes abundance, that which sustains and preserves life. She is like the earth, which never ceases to give birth again and again. The mother appears as care and protection. Her image brings a sense of safety. As children, we literally live because of the warmth and attention of the mother. Inside us, this archetype remains forever, as a source of comfort and peace. She manifests as generosity and giving, for everything that lives exists, thanks to the endless bounty of the mother. She gives milk, bread, fruit, strength. She is the symbol of sacrifice for the sake of life. But this archetype also has its shadow. When care turns into excessive control, it suffocates. When generosity becomes total, it consumes, leaving no space for freedom. That is why the Great Mother is dual. She can be life-giving, but also restricting, and even destructive. In myths, this is reflected in the figures of Demeter, the goddess of harvest, feeding the world, yet ready to plunge the earth into winter at the loss of her daughter. Isis, reviving Osiris, and at the same time, demanding devotion. The Slavic Mokosh, granting fertility, but able to take it away. Jung said, "The Great Mother is an archetype that accompanies a woman throughout her entire life. It shows itself in her ability to care, to love, to create a space where others can grow." But this archetype is not only about motherhood. It is about the inner support of every woman. When a woman embraces herself, when she learns to nourish and sustain her own life, she ceases to be a victim of the Great Mother and becomes her embodiment. Each of us carries this archetype within. We can recognize it when we care for others and when we ourselves long for comfort. But we must remember, the Great Mother should nourish, not consume. She is the very breath of life. And she says to us, "I keep you. I nourish you. But your freedom is in your hands." Jung said, "The image of the maiden is a symbol of new beginnings, of purity and possibility. She embodies eternal birth and renewal." The maiden is the archetype of purity and new beginnings. It is not only the image of a young girl as it might first appear. For Jung, she symbolized eternal renewal, freshness, and openness to life. The maiden is the start of the journey, a moment when the soul is not yet burdened by experience, when the world is perceived as fresh as dawn. She represents openness to the new, curiosity, and trust in life. This archetype contains the idea of innocence, not in a narrow moral sense, but in the sense of a soul that has not yet grown heavy, that has not lost the ability to see wonder. The light side of the maiden, purity of perception. She sees the world without cynicism, able to delight in the simple, to notice beauty where others no longer can. Spontaneity. She trusts her feelings. She is natural and authentic. Beginnings. At every stage of life, the maiden opens a new door, into relationships, into creativity, into a new self. The shadow side of the maiden. But Jung emphasized, every archetype has its shadow, and so does the maiden. Her shadow is naivety and vulnerability. She may trust too much, open too quickly, becoming easy prey for another's will. Another danger is remaining stuck in the eternal role of the little girl, refusing responsibility, waiting for someone else to come and lead her, passing responsibility for her choices onto a partner, parents, or circumstances, fearing independence. As Jung might say, the shadow of the maiden is not innocence, but the refusal to grow up. It is the endless waiting for a savior to come and decide everything. But maturity begins where we ourselves take the first step. The maiden in myths and symbols. In Greek myth, Persephone, the daughter of Demeter abducted by Hades, her story contains both purity and vulnerability, but also the passage into adult life. In Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, the maiden as independence and freedom, able to follow her own path. In Christianity, the Virgin Mary, symbolizing spiritual purity and sacred beginnings. The maiden today. For women today, the maiden archetype manifests every time we begin something new, every time we choose to trust life, every time we allow ourselves to be open and light. But true maturity of the maiden comes when she combines her purity with wisdom. She remains open to the world, but no longer loses herself in it. The maiden whispers to us, "Stay a fresh soul, but do not forget to guard your center. Begin boldly, but protect the light within you." A woman who is fully herself can also be strong and decisive, and this is no contradiction to her nature. The Amazon is strength. She is courage. She is independence. She goes first. She protects herself and those around her. She is the one who stands for truth, who says, "I can do it on my own." Today we see the Amazon in women leaders, in activists, in scientists and explorers, in every woman who dares to step forward. But she has a shadow. When strength turns into armor, the Amazon becomes cold, isolated. Her fight matters more than her heart. Without love, her battle becomes endless conflict. The Amazon teaches us this: a woman's strength is not against her femininity, but her power is complete. Only when it is joined with softness. Then she is not only a warrior, she is a protector. She is a space of safety where others can grow. The Amazon teaches us to protect ourselves and to step forward first. But her journey does not end with battle. At some point, the sword and shield are no longer her main weapons. A woman realizes that true strength is born not only from determination, but also from inner wisdom. And then, the priestess awakens within her, the one who knows how to hear silence, to read signs, to trust intuition. The Amazon looks outward, ready to face the enemy. The priestess looks inward, where the real answers are hidden. In time, this path leads to the wise old woman. This is knowledge tested by experience. She no longer searches outside. She has found it within herself. The priestess opens the door to mystery. The wise woman lights the path with maturity and clarity. Thus, feminine power becomes whole. When the courage of the Amazon unites with the depth of the priestess and the vision of the wise woman. Jung wrote that the image of the wise old woman is one of the aspects of the mother archetype, mother imago. She is not merely a woman with experience, she is wisdom itself, gained through life. The priestess opens the way to mystery, and the wise woman illuminates it with the light of maturity. In this knowledge lies our deepest strength. The priestess and the wise woman are two faces of the same archetype, the woman who holds knowledge. The priestess is mystery and intuition. She stands at the border of worlds, sensing what lies beyond words. Her power is in perceiving signs, dreams, the whispers of the unconscious. The wise woman is knowledge passed through experience. She no longer seeks answers in the outer world. They live within her. Her strength is clarity. Her gift is understanding. Both are guides. The priestess opens the door to mystery. The wise woman shows the path through maturity and insight. Together, they remind us that true knowledge is not born outside, but within. The light side of this archetype is wisdom, the ability to guide others and share understanding. But there is also shadow, coldness, detachment, isolation. When wisdom becomes a wall and knowledge turns into power over others. In myths, this archetype appears in Hecate, in Isis, in Sophia, in the old women of folk tales, the witches and guides who always know the way. Today, the priestess and the wise woman live in every woman who trusts her intuition and relies on her experience, in psychologists, teachers, healers, mentors. And their message is this: the truth is always near. You will not find it outside, but within. And when you trust your intuition and your inner strength, you become fully yourself.